All right, welcome back to the Built to Grow podcast. I'm your host, Tim Lyons, joined in studio today by Randy Angst. What's up, buddy?
How we doing? I thought we were going to have a nickname or something.
No. No, we are not.
The good old days.
You're letting that beard go, huh?
No, it's probably I'm going to chop it soon because I was thinking like the kids and I'm going to know who I am. It's going to be one of those scenes where, you know, I come in and I'm shaved
and
they
just start
crying. Yeah.
Start crying. Who's this guy?
Strange man in my home.
Oh, got a great episode for you guys today. We are going to talk a little bit about the rat race. And this is a common theme that we see all the time coming out of gyms that are kind of following a specific model or path. What do I mean by that? Now, typically the rat race is just this every month kind of putting yourself in the same position, coming from behind, and in order to make bills or to make the money and the revenue and the profit for that particular month, you got to come out and sell some type of high ticket, front end challenge, whatever, just to make ends meet.
Yes.
You know, we've had a lot of calls over the years, and it seems to be a very common theme that, you know, it's in a lot of times it comes from the large group training models, class-based stuff, high attrition, a lot of clients coming and going, it's just a high-end, high marketing spend type of organization where the owner or the sales team, typically comes from the owner, is hung up on getting the paid in fulls, getting the money now. I'm just working with a gym couple months ago, kind of got into his and her numbers. And it was interesting because like we were looking at their numbers, and their numbers every month kind of were floating around the same, you know, let's call it 25 to 27,000 a month. But then when we got into the reoccurring revenue, it was like 14.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wait a minute here. So every month you're coming, 8 to 10 grand and something. And he goes, well, 42% of their memberships were not paying, like they had already paid in full.
Yeah.
So let's just say they had 100 members and 60 of them were on reoccurring. 40 of the members had paid already something, either 6, 10, 12, or year-long programs or some type of 6-week thing. And there was no recurring revenue. And I said, well, how much money do you have in the bank from those? It's all that money's already been spent. So they've taken the money for the paid in fulls to cover that month's expenses, and then it's gone. And now they have to service this client for the longer term. And it puts a gym in a really tough spot.
Yeah.
Call it the rat race.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. I mean, you're selling future expense. Or you know what I mean? Like they're literally paying the expenses of the next 6 weeks plus with today's sale.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not leaving anything in the tank.
Well, it's funny because you hear a lot of time the argument of, Tim, well, let's put that money in another account and then we'll drip it in like it was. No, you won't.
Nobody does.
Nobody does. Like there's a law, Parkinson's law, and this is what it says. Like if you have X amount of time for a project, let's just say you have to get a report done.
Sure. And
it's due in a month, but you got 2 hours left to finish it. You will take the entire month to finish that report because the time allotted, your work expands to the time allotted. Yep. The same thing goes with financial. Your expenses will grow to, this is a great example. Your expenses will grow to the income that you've created. So somebody comes from a specific, I'll just say middle class. Middle class. And they start to make more money. Their expenses, they don't stay at middle class expenses. They start to grow their expenses into what they're making. And then they're never ahead. And it's like every dollar they make, I got a good friend, his name.
Oh yeah.
Every dollar he makes, and he's making $300,000 a year. He'll spend $301,000.
Find a way to spend the money, right?
And he'll find a way to spend the money, and that's the Parkinson's law. And it's the same thing for gym owners. You guys are collecting all this paid in full revenue. You find ways to spend it, and by the time you really need it, it's gone. Well, so now you're in that same position next month.
And that's one portion of it. But I mean, in a situation like that where your base operating expenses exceed what he's making every single month, most of that, the additional money that's being raised is going to the expenses.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not even like you have the option to go buy new equipment or put it back into marketing or do other things with that revenue that could potentially grow the business. No, you're keeping the lights on.
Yeah.
And it's almost like a desperation tactic, a scarcity, play, because you have to grab what you can today to keep the business around for another month or two without coming out of pocket.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the eternal rat race. And I think the point we want to make here is, unless you change something about what you're doing, that rat race is going to persist for as long as you have that business. You have to change what you're doing to get out of that situation. And it's not going to be another marketing hook. It's not going to be something else. Until you focus on growing your monthly recurring revenue and making that the focus of everything that you're doing with your sales, you're going to be in that same position, period.
Yeah. Guys, I've known this forever. I used to go in the hole and not allow people to pay in full because I didn't want the money. I wanted the reoccurring. I was so focused on what we call the delta, growing the recurring revenue month after month after month. And sometimes it's a grind.
Sure.
Yeah, you are going to be negative, especially if let's just say right now, just throwing numbers, your base operating expenses is 20 and your recurring revenue is 14. So you're -6 every month. And you got, instead of pitching discounted paid in fulls, because that's what this couple was doing, it was very clear. You pay for a year, you get this discount. You pay for 6 months, you get this discount. Oh, you don't want those things? We have this 6-week thing for X. And it's like, just put them in the membership.
Get them in the membership.
Get them in the recurring. Get them in the recurring. Call it EFT, call it MRR, recurring revenue, whatever you want to call it. Get them in that. That's the only way you'll get yourself out of the rat race, is growing the EFT, growing the delta. And I wouldn't take the money.
Yeah.
And if I was going to say, if the person was going to walk out the door because they didn't want to have a card on file or whatever, I'm going to give them the paid in full, but I'm not discounting it. It's like you pay for the full year up front. That's fine. If that's the only way you're going to sign up, I'm not going to let you walk out the door, obviously. But I don't want to give discounts for any paid in fulls. I want you on recurring revenue.
Yeah. And
believe it or not, those people stay way longer because, one, they're being hit every month, but they're involved. Like this is really crazy. You want to hear a crazy story? There's an episode that we had. It's called it was the Legacy Club. It was the lifetime membership for $25,000. Well, we had a handful of people come in, and 3/4 of those people have not ever come in and worked out after they paid $25,000. Weird.
Very strange.
It was a write-off. It was a thing. They got it. And now they have a lifetime thing. But like the paid in full folks, they're not being reminded that they have this thing, and they kind of just fall off. I don't know that to be true if they stay any less than the recurring people, but I could tell you that they fall off here real fast.
Sure.
The people that paid for the $25,000, they're gone.
Isn't that crazy?
It's a donation.
Yeah.
Not that I want that. I'm just saying it's just weird. That's a human behavior going on.
Yeah.
But back to the recurring revenue. So yes, you're going to go in the hole like, yeah, you're $6,000 negative every month. Well, next month you're going to be $4,000 negative.
Yeah.
And then $2,000, and then $500 negative, and then you're positive $500, and now you're positive $2,000. That's how it works.
And you're probably listening to this like, hey, how does that happen? How do I get there? What do I do to do some, things differently? You make sure that your sales are going to your monthly, memberships, but then you just break it down. The math problem equates to clients. How many clients do I need to sell in order to dig myself out of this monthly recurring hole, right? Just break it down. And then that becomes your daily, weekly goal, is just checking off the number of clients you need to cover the gap.
Yep.
And then you find yourself in an entirely different position. And we always talk about clarity sets in when your monthly recurring exceeds your base operating expense. I mean, if you're listening and you're in the situation Tim's talking about, where you're doing all of these different plays and selling whatever you can to get the money today, you probably feel the stress I know you feel that stress every month. Your bills aren't paid until you sell, right? And so give yourself the clarity, get yourself in a position to where you can actually look at your business, forecast for the future, see what you have that's sustainable, reliable, and just keep building that foundation of EFT. Your whole business, the way you look at it, the way you wake up and look at the business and enter the business, all of that's going to change. Mm-hmm. A lot of the resentment and it's unfortunate, but that's what happens when you go into your business month after month after month, and it's not paying your bills. It's not paying its own bills. It's not providing you with revenue.
Mm-hmm.
Aside from that, get yourself in that position. It's as easy as just focusing on the recurring revenue.
Yeah, Tim, but I don't have the capital to float, right? You don't have the capital to float a couple months of your pay or your gap, I should say, of your expenses. What do? You find the damn money, guys. This is a grown-up sport we're playing. This is real business. It's not a hobby. This is real life. If you need to find the money, you go find the damn money. Don't go paid in full just to get the money. Go to a friend, a family member. Go to the damn bank. Get a credit card.
Line of credit.
Figure it out, because you'll never get out of the hole until you fix this one problem. And you'll just be there forever. And you'll never get ahead. And it's just like you work 10 years doing the same thing and you're never ahead because you got some type of something happened in your gym career that you fell into some, I don't know if it's a marketing agency playbook, front end, high ticket, challenge based, paid in full drop sell coaching program that gives you these little dopamine hits. They're like, oh dude, we got $2,000 up front. Yeah. And you guys celebrate that when you should be not celebrating that. You should be celebrating the recurring revenue. Something happened to all of these gyms that we talked to. They fell into some program somewhere. Somebody taught them some tactic that tells you that getting the money up front is the best and only way to make money in your business. And I'm telling you, it's the absolute opposite of that. Focus on the delta, the recurring revenue, grow that. And then you guys just find the money to cover the gap, however you do it. Talk to your mom, your dad, your brother, sister, uncle. Doesn't matter. Steal it. I don't know. Do whatever you need to do.
It's not financial advice.
This is not financial advice. Just don't sell the paid in full to get ahead. And everybody's probably, well, I can't do it. Fine. Okay. Throw another excuse in there and we'll talk to you in another year and you'll be in the same spot. I don't know what else to tell you guys other than fix it.
Yeah.
Fix it now.
Well, and the evidence is on the wall. I mean, you've done this. You've been in this situation for how long? Until you try something else. Until, nothing changes if nothing changes. And right now you're trying to, I guarantee you're in that situation where you're like, if I only just sell more of these this month, it's not going to happen. You're never going to crest that problem and put the problem, make the problem go away if you don't do something different. And that's the problem, is the rat race, right? It's doing the same thing, expecting a different result.
I've seen gyms brag about, or I should say coaching programs, brag about this gym did 50,000 this month and this gym did 80,000 or 70 or 50 or 30 or whatever it is. But they're not telling you the full story. You got 30, 40, 50,000 this month in revenue. It's a one-time pop, one-time sale. Next month, you're back to 20.
Yeah.
You're back to 18. You're back to 14. I don't know who's I know who's teaching it. I do, actually. I know a lot of people that teach this. I was in a long time ago. I got given a course, like a sales training course.
Sure.
And one of the tactics, again, it's a tactic, was at the end of the sale, the guy or who, Mrs. Johnson's committed to this program for this long, paying monthly. And then they ask the question, how would you like to save another $600?
Yeah, exactly.
And what do you mean? Do you want to save another $600? Yes. Well, when you pay in full today, we knock off $600. And I'm like, how many people are following that bad advice? And again, the other side of that argument, a lot of times for gyms, it's like, well, I don't know if these clients are going to be here in a year.
Yep.
I don't know if they're going to stick it out. Well, the reason you don't know that is because your product is subpar. And so here's really the way you fix this. You go back and you fix the product first.
Mm-hmm.
You keep these clients longer, paying longer with higher retention. Gone are the days of 12, 15, 18% attrition rates. You need to be 2, 3, or 4. Even 5s, you can't stick it out that long.
It's tough, yeah.
2, 3, or 4%. It sucks, guys. Well, Tim, I can't help if somebody moves. I get it. Guys, I get it. The people leave here every month.
It happens, yeah.
There's only, I think, been, I don't know, on one hand in 15 years, I can remember 0 people leaving that month. Like, you're going to lose people. But it's the ones that what we call legitimate losses that are your fault, not the job change, loss of, we've had clients die. What are you going to do, guys? Like, you can't have 0%. That's
not the target.
It's part of the business where people churn, but like keeping people on average for many, many years should be the goal. And the only way that people stay for many, many years is well, there's ways that you bring them in, but it's your product, it's your experience, it's all of the things inside the 4 walls. And we had an episode that's probably just released talking about your marketing hooks, defining some of your attrition rates, and that's also very true. It's like how you bring people in and what you say to attract people has a lot to do with how long they stay.
Well, and so let's make that commonality to the programs that these gyms are typically running, right? It's flash in the pan result. It's quick, fast results. You can pay me everything up front because I'm going to get you a result fast. Well, right away we're bringing somebody into the gym who's focused on losing weight, probably looking to do it quickly. If you check that box, you solve their problem. They're probably moving on. If you don't check that box, you fail to do your job. They're probably moving on. Or if they're happy at the end of the short term, then you still have to resell them into a program like your annual memberships and things like that probably don't have all the bells and whistles of the program that you just brought them in on. So there's incongruency about where we want to be bringing people into our business and the things that we're saying to attract them. And until that changes, your retention rates are going to show that.
Yeah, I guess the bottom line is this, guys. You're going to have to bite the bullet sooner or later. It's either you bite it 2 years from now when you can't stay in business no matter what, or you just do it now and you get ahead this year. And this is the breakthrough year where you stop playing the games with the paid in full stuff and you start just focusing on your recurring revenue, keeping your clients longer. Your product is number one priority. Get rid of all of the paid in full discounts. Get rid of all the front end challenges and all the 6-week garbage. Get rid of all the short-term promises and all this stuff. Put people into a long-term lifestyle-based training program. That's the rest of your life. Like, that's part of our sales pitch. It's like how long do you think it'll take me to get results? Well, it's the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Like that. This is the rest of your life.
It's a moving goal. It should be a moving goal.
Of course, you get to goal A, and then the goalpost moves, and you keep going get down the field. But like, guys, this is the new way. This is the way.
This is the way
to build a long-term sustainable business and never feel that pressure of like, oh my God, I'm not going to be able to pay the bills this month because my recurring revenue isn't here, and I got to make sales this month, and I better come up with some special offer this month just to get a discount in so people jump. Throw it all away, guys. Start and do it right. Guys, if you need help with this, happy to help. We've got programs. We got a webinar coming up.
We do.
Yeah. It's what's the link? winninggym.com/
MDM Live, I believe.
MDM Live.
It'll be in the show notes regardless, but
we'll drop it in the show notes for you. And that's a live 3-day event we're going to be putting on here. Hour and a half a day, I think. Take a little break from your training and jump on that call with us, and we'll teach you the way.
Yep.
I mean, really, it comes down to what we found is the gyms that follow this exact process. Those are the ones that get ahead. That's the end of the day. So listen, guys, if you need help, there's going to be links all in the show notes. Grab a time, grab a call. We'd love to chat with you, see if we can help you. Hopefully this episode kind of shakes you loose a little bit and it helps you. Until next episode, guys, keep changing lives. We'll see you on the next show. Bye. All right. Thanks for listening to another episode of the Built to Grow podcast. If you want more help growing your business, join our free Facebook group, Profit Accelerator, helping training gyms grow to $30,000 a month and beyond. We'd love to see you there. Go check out the show notes for the link and keep building something great. And we'll see you in the next episode.